The radios blared non-stop, GPS signals flashing on the small screen. We signaled to one another, gripping our weapons tightly, breaths heavy in the thick, suffocating air. Cold sweat trickled down, even though the forest air was freezing. A sudden strike from the wild boars seemed imminent, but everything was still within our control. Every step, every encirclement had been calculated with precision. I moved carefully through a thicket of grass, knowing a single misstep could alert the boars. Success or failure would be decided in these very moments. Then, amid the whistling wind and rustling leaves, a familiar sound broke through, the pounding of hooves crashing through the grass. The boar burst out, charging straight at me. A sharp gunshot cracked, but it still lunged forward. Luckily, I dodged just in time. It all happened within a heartbeat, victory hanging by a thread. Meanwhile, Jack had just taken down another target. He swept carefully through the tall grass, determined not to let any escape. And just as predicted, one charged out, heading straight toward its doom, completely unaware. Jack attacked with precision. Boom! A swift, decisive shot ended it, the result of years of discipline and training. The tension faded, replaced by relief. Another boar controlled, another step toward peace for the entire village. Then it happened again. The GPS signaled, another boar appeared near a dirt road not far away. It darted out like an arrow, but we had already spotted it. In a flash, I locked on. This was the chance, it had no escape. I pulled the trigger. The bullet tore through the air, dropping the target instantly. We pressed forward to the field's edge, alert and cautious. Before we could even steady ourselves, another target emerged. As the footsteps grew louder, I tightened my grip on the rifle. The boar burst out at full speed. I opened fire, bullets raining down, but it managed to vanish into the dense underbrush. Wounded, the boar forced its way into a thick bush, but after all the destruction it had caused, there would be no forgiveness. I closed in, delivering the final shot, an end to its suffering, and a return of peace to the village. A fitting fate for a destroyer. We continued deeper into the neighboring forest, adjusting our pursuit to match the new terrain. Through the camera, I spotted multiple boars hiding nearby. My eyes scanned every detail, missing nothing, not even the smallest trace. A massive boar charged straight at me, like it wanted to strike me down. Boom! I squeezed the trigger, instinct refined through thousands of drills. This time, it was real and it saved me. The target collapsed instantly. Terrifying. 1 second too late, and I would have been the prey. The chase went on. My team and I subdued several more targets, restoring safety to this land once again. As dusk fell, our sharp-nosed dogs flushed another boar into the open. My teammate finished it quickly, eliminating the threat and protecting me in the process. Another clean takedown to close out the day. There's no better feeling than knowing that after this hunt, the villagers can finally sleep peacefully without fear for their coming harvests. Life once again could be calm. This hunt didn't end with the final gunshot, but with a collective sigh of relief as the remaining boars scattered deep into the forest. On the sun-scorched grasslands, where the wind whirls up layers of red dust along dirt roads, local villagers are struggling against the destruction brought by herds of wild boars. They storm into farms, plowing through crops in a single night, leaving behind nothing but ruin. That's why today we set out off-road vehicles and rifles ready for a life-and-death confrontation. What kind of fierce encounters will this unforgiving wilderness throw at us? Let's find out in the journey ahead. Still seated in the truck, we suddenly spotted a reckless target dashing across the field ahead. Within mere seconds, the shot rang out. The beast collapsed instantly. Too fast, too dangerous. An explosive start, foreshadowing that today's hunt would be anything but simple. We decided to get off the vehicle, moving silently so as not to startle any boars still hiding nearby. But as soon as I stepped into position, a massive black figure suddenly charged straight toward me as if to attack. There was no time to hesitate. My fingers squeezed the trigger. The bullet tore through the air, striking the beast's body. It staggered, thrashed, and finally lay still. We wasted no time and pressed on, following every trace of the crop-raiding beasts. Suddenly, the team leader ahead raised his hand, silence, Before him stood a massive wild boar, its eyes glinting with a defiant challenge. He advanced slowly, fearless. When the distance was reduced to just a few steps, he raised his rifle and ended it cleanly. That's the fate of those who dare to stand defiant before the cold barrel of a hunter's gun. After dealing with that target, we received a signal from the southeast. Boar spotted. The whole team rushed over. Since the distance was great, one member quickly took out his scoped rifle, carefully locking on. The boar, busy foraging, had no idea it was already in the crosshairs. Bang! The shot cracked loudly, the bullet piercing its mark. The beast collapsed instantly, never even getting a chance to flee. From another direction, a teammate suddenly shouted. I spun around instinctively, rifle raised, tracking the sprinting target tearing across the ground. Pow! Another bullet fired. In the blink of an eye, the beast was subdued completely. What do you think? Doesn't this speed and accuracy deserve to be our team's pride? And headed out toward the highway, a dark shadow suddenly streaked across my path. You won't escape. I thought. Without a second thought, I raised my rifle, finger tightening on the trigger. The bullet sliced through the air, hitting its side and sending it crashing into the dry earth. Despite struggling, it no longer had the strength to run. Tonight, the villagers would sleep in peace. The hunt ended with well-earned results. Everything was carried out within legal boundaries, strictly following local hunting regulations. Not only had we eliminated the destroyers of crops, but we also brought reassurance and a good night's rest to the people here. The harsh, brittle rustle of crushed leaves echoes through the air. Right in front of me, a massive dark figure charges forward, snorting furiously. Wild boars again. I grit my teeth, eyes locked on the target ahead, gripping my rifle tight. I'm ready for a merciless showdown. My fields, my crops, my village, there's no way I'll let these boars lay them to waste. Let's begin. We had just arrived at today's destination, the thickets, the wild boar's favorite hideout. Suddenly, a shadow darts across, lightning fast. A huge, muscular boar with bristling hair bursts out, looking ferocious. Right behind it, my hunting dogs give chase, keeping close on its heels. A tense pursuit. All right, time to end this. Bang! The bullet flashes through the air and strikes the boar. It staggers, then collapses to the ground. My dogs swiftly pin it down. The first target is down, an excellent start to today's hunt and a smooth display of teamwork. From above, I scan the terrain. This place is packed with dense bushes. Suddenly, another boar bolts from the undergrowth, trying to escape, but that's the wrong move. A deafening gunshot tears through the silence. The bullet finds its mark. The beast tumbles, its massive frame crashing down. A clean kill. What do you think of that shot? Let us know in the comments below. The target is hiding here. You're surrounded, there's no escape. I raise my rifle, locking the target. Bang. Too easy. One clean shot, and the boar is down. Peace restored. Do you want to witness a chase where every second counts? That's the reality of hunting, no time for hesitation or doubt. Time to act. I load my weapon, finger on the trigger, eyes fixed ahead. Bang! Lightning quick. The boar drops instantly motionless. Perfect. Fast, sharp, precise. From a thick patch of bushes, a huge dark figure bursts out at terrifying speed. A charging boar, but I anticipated this. In a blink, my rifle is aimed, the trigger pulled. A sharp crack splits the air. The beast freezes mid-charge, collapses. Silence returns to the forest. A powerful reminder. This is not a place where wild boars roam freely. The hunt nears its end. Finally, the last target of the day. The boar hasn't realized the danger waiting ahead. Perfect. I'll give it a surprise. Target locked. A dry, sharp gunshot breaks the stillness. Direct hit. The boar stumbles, falls lifeless. Its carefree moments erased in an instant. The battle is over. I lower my rifle, a wave of relief mixed with a trace of sorrow washing over me. This isn't the joy of victory, but the calm of resolution. Now the vegetable fields, the corn patches, and the village can rest easy once more. I return with the trophy, but also with the weight of responsibility as a protector. One day, battles like this will begin again, and we'll always be ready. Our work is recognized and supported by the U.S. government. I send my gratitude to fellow hunters, local farmers, and the authorities who stood by us, ensuring today's mission was accomplished. We operate within proper policies, with support and risk insurance to carry out our duty. We returned to my grandfather's farm after the rainy season, only to find his rows of young sugarcane completely torn apart by wild boars. Fresh hoof prints stamped deep into the wet soil looked like a taunt. We couldn't allow the crops to be destroyed any further. So we set out armed with rifles, pickup trucks, and thermal cameras. Everyone knew deep down, tonight would be a relentless chase. We laid out our strategy. One team would hold position by the fence near the sugarcane, while another circled through the woods to cut them off. The infrared camera operator would relay updates non-stop. Once a signal came through, the formation would tighten, and the target would be locked in. One by one, we slipped into the darkness, silently taking our pre-assigned spots. As darkness fell and the ground still steamed with lingering moisture, we lay in wait by the fence that bordered my grandfather's fields. The night was both a challenge and a test of every hunter's nerve. Through the thermal scope, two shadows appeared. Boom! The first went down instantly by the fence. The other bolted in panic, the opening shot of a long and brutal night. One boar managed to escape the opening volley. I quickly tracked its trail and found it with its head buried in the crops. In the dead silence, without hesitation, I pulled the trigger, bang. It dropped instantly. Night hunts demand absolute caution. A single careless second could cost an entire harvest. The night grew colder. A call came in from the thermal camera team. Wild boars had appeared in the nearby forest. We moved swiftly to intercept. There it was. The next target shuffled into view. I raised my rifle, holding my breath, waiting for it to step clear. The moment the gap opened, crack, the bullet struck true, and the boar collapsed motionless. The silence of the forest sealed itself again, broken only by the acrid scent of gunpowder. What did you think of that takedown? After dropping a few more raiders, each shot was like a strike to restore balance. We left the woods and advanced onto the open fields, prime feeding grounds at this hour. Across the wide meadow, a lone boar strayed from its herd, grazing carelessly. I locked the scope, steadying my breath, then squeezed the trigger. Boom! The boar crumpled instantly. Another darted past my sights, and I seized the chance for back-to-back kills. gunfire rattled through the night, sending the herd scattering in chaos. Quick reflexes and seizing every opportunity. These are the skills that define a true hunter. Soon after, we came across another herd feasting recklessly. My rifle fixed on the lead boar, blam. As it fell, I swung and fired at the dark figures fleeing across the field. Shots echoed one after another, and bodies dropped in succession. Can you count how many went down in just those few seconds? Drop your guesses in the comments. It was past midnight now. In the stillness, each gunshot wasn't just sound, it was a drumbeat of order being restored. We weren't afraid of danger, only of seeing the worry in farmers' eyes when their lifetime's work was threatened by these beasts. On the way back to the truck, just as everyone thought the hunt was over, instinct kicked in, I spotted another boar hiding in the brush. Alarmed, it lunged forward, but my finger was faster. 3 sharp shots rang out. Clean, precise. The night hunt was over. We packed our weapons and cameras into the Toyota Land Cruiser and headed home. When dawn broke, the crops were still standing because the peace of a night had been bought with sweat, grit, and unwavering shots.